selected historic events which happened today, which is September 15th. So let's find out what has happened on this day. And by the way, friends, we are live. So if you want to send your messages will be flashed live on the screen, and we can have an interactive session. So let us find out what happened on this day. Friends, we all know Charles Darwin, the great explorer who actually did a lot of exploration, collected a lot of samples of fossils, and was able to identify the connections between different types of fossils. And he actually wrote his thesis. Because of his work, we know that there is evolution, there is a process of natural selection, and there is also this survival of the fittest. So all of these three concepts were given by Charles Darwin. But many of you may not know that he was actually son of a very aristocratic family. He belonged to aristocratic family, and he could have done anything in life because he had all the means and resources and money. But he chose to get onto a ship. And in those days, America was identified as a new world, and a lot of people were shifting or migrating from England to Americas. So he was a person belonging to the upper class society of England. He decided to board the ship, and he wanted to explore, see the world, and basically understand why there are so many questions that he wanted to address. So today, on September 15th, he actually boarded HMS, which is His Majesty Service Beagle, a ship called Beagle, and reaches the Galapagos Island. These are the islands which are in the middle of Atlantic, and this is where he started his study. And he collected all these samples in his life for about 3 to 4 years before he actually compiled all of them in his book, which was released later on. But the important thing is that his exploration started today on September 15th in the year 1835. Remember that, friends. Let's move to the next one. It's about the war. And during the First World War, the techniques which were used by both army was to dig trenches and hold ground. So when you dig these trenches, the soldier go inside and live in the trench and fight from there. And then inch by inch, they keep moving forward. And when they move forward, they have to dig another trench. Because when they are not in the trench, they are exposed to the enemy fire. And that was one battle tactics which was used during the First World War. In fact, this was invented in the American Civil War, 50-60 years prior. However, this became sort of a stalemate situation because both sides of the war did not move, and they are trying to find ways to defeat, but there is no way to defeat. As both the sides of the soldiers will be dug up in trenches, and they will live. They will have their quarters. They will have their daily march in the trench, and so on and so forth. So both sides have the same technique. How do you break that? The challenge was to break that, and I think the British came up with the ingenious design, which is called tank. And why it is called tank? Because British was building this device which could travel over the trenches and kill the enemy soldiers in a lot of secrecy. And because this is made of iron, and a lot of iron workers were involved in building a tank, so in order to keep it secret, super secret, the iron workers were told that they were working on a water tank. So because they should not know what they are working on, because this looks like a beast, a machine. So they were told that they are working on a special water tank in order to maintain the secrecy. But eventually, that is how the name stuck to this, war machine, and we all call them tank, even though it doesn't look anything like a tank. So these are some of the things which happened during the First World War. Important thing is September 15th, 1916, the first battle tank was used in the war, and the picture of this battle tank is shown here. The battle tank was huge. It had many soldiers inside. It could house many guns, and it used to move very slowly because they didn't have the powerful engine. This battle tank was called Little Willys, and this was used for the first time in a battle of Somme, which is in France, on September 15th, 1916. Let's move to the next one. Next one is from the area of medicine. We all know that antibiotics are very popular, and in case we have any bacterial infection, we always doctor recommend antibiotics of various kinds, and we consume them in order to kill these unfriendly bacteria which has managed to enter our body and infect our organs. So this was identified by accident by a Scottish bacteriologist. His name was Alexander Fleming, and again because he was trying to save life, and he was trying to find cure for various diseases that affect human race, and by mistake or by accident, he was able to discover that the penicillin, which is coming out from a fungus, is able to kill the bacteria, and that is how he was able to identify that there is something called something exists in nature which can kill bacteria naturally. And today we know that this battle has been going on for eons, since the time the bacteria and fungus evolved on Earth billions of years back. They are always working towards each other, and fungus is the only thing which can kill a bacteria. Otherwise, it's very difficult to destroy bacteria. So this scientist Alexander Fleming identified that the fungus is something which can kill bacteria, and he was able to extract the first antibiotic called penicillin, which was used in during the battle to save the life of soldiers. And in those days, because this was the first antibiotic, anything that goes wrong, the penicillin was injected. Later on, a lot of research was done, and then we have different types of antibiotics which can cure different types of bacterial infections and bacterial diseases. But this all started on September 15th, 1928 by Alexander Fleming. So remember this, friend. Let's move to the next one. Okay, so now fast forward in the nuclear age, and we all know that the submarines are very stealthy ships. And why they are stealthy? Because they can dive under the sea surface and remain hidden, while the sailors who are living on the ship can survive even though they are underwater. And because they are underwater, by its nature itself, it becomes stealthy. But it has to surface. During the battle, it can acquire the stealthy nature. But when it is under the water, the usual engines cannot propel the submarine. You need sort of electrical batteries or electrical motors to run the submarine. Now that limits its range and limits its operability, because once the submarine is underwater, the battery will drain out, and then it will have to surface and recharge these batteries by using the diesel engine. And all that changed when British realized that instead of putting any diesel or electric engine, they can straight away put a nuclear engine inside a submarine. And nuclear engine means that the nuclear reactor will be put inside the submarine, and then you don't have to really fuel it. And that will, since you don't have to fuel it, there is no question of where the submarine is. Is it in above the water or it's under the water? Because nuclear reactor will keep generating heat, whatever the case may be. And the way nuclear reactor works is that it is basically fueled once only in lifetime. And usually nuclear reactors in submarine last for 20 to 30 years without refueling. So that is the remarkable thing that the British identified, and they put their they equipped the nuclear reactor inside the nuclear powered submarine called Resolution, and this was launched in the year 1966 on September 15th. It is this brought a lot of changes in the way the warfare is done. In fact, today submarines are very stealthy. They have also done a lot of research in terms of how do you make them very silent. Then they are also coated with anti-sonar material. So they have taken totally a different level, altogether about being stealthy in nature. So submarines are very stealthy weapons, and now using the ballistic missiles, they can be very dangerous weapons of war because they can be anywhere, they are undetectable, and they can fire ballistic missiles. And ballistic missiles are the missiles which can go into space and fall back on Earth. So a ballistic missile, nuclear powered submarine can be anywhere, can be near your shore, and they can fire the missile which can travel to about 5,000 to 6,000 miles distance, and therefore nobody can detect where the submarines are. They are totally silent and they don't have to surface for recharging their battery. So that is why this is so important. All this started on September 15th, 1966 by this submarine called HMS Resolution, which was the first nuclear powered ballistic missile submarine. Let's move to the next one. Well, this is about space. And you know that there was a space race going on between USA and USSR. USSR was the country, now it is called Russia because USSR disintegrated. And they had their space program, and their space launch vehicle was called Soyuz. And believe it or not, Soyuz is still operational, while a lot of American counterparts of the space vehicles have come and gone. Soyuz is the vehicle which is used to carry equipment, carry astronauts and also cosmonauts to the International Space Station. So if the Soyuz is not there, there is no way to basically manage the International Space Station. So Soyuz has been used as a space vehicle even today, and there are at least 10 to 12 different variants of Soyuz depending on the type of work you want to undertake. So this is something which is about Soyuz, and there was space race going on between in 70s, and the Soyuz carries 2 cosmonauts for 8 days in 1976 on September 15th. It was a big deal because living in space, surviving for 8 days was totally remarkable, and conduct different kinds of tests. So this is a historic launch of Soyuz in the year 1976 on September 15th. So remember, friend, these are some of the important incidents that happened today, and as we are live, you can actually send us your messages, and we can display your messages right here just like this. And if you have any comments or suggestion, you can send it to us and interact with us. So let's move on, and these are the important incidents that happened, and we thought that we will talk about this today. Thanks for watching. All the important links about this video and much more are given in the description below. And I will see you tomorrow again in the same program. Until then, please take care, and bye bye for today. you.